So it's a beautiful morning, late October in Michigan. It's a little chilly here getting started, but we'll do our best to show you how to build a hoop house. We're going to start off talking about some layout concerns. Really, the easiest way to do layout is to start with one post. So we've set a post here, we've set it level, we've driven it into the ground about the depth it's going to be, and we're going to build a 48-foot hoop house today, so we're going to pull 48 feet to the second post, and everything's going to lay out off of that. So everything is on center when we're doing layout. So we're going to build this thing 48 on center between these two corner posts, but because we're pulling tapes always off the near edge of a post, it's going to be near edge for the measurement we're looking for. So we're always looking at a measurement to be 48 feet and bigger. The post sits on the bigger side of that mark. So we've got 48 feet on this side. We're going to pull the diagonals and set two more posts, and everything lays out off of that. Anytime we're doing layout, we're dealing with dimensions that are on center. Every post has a dimension like 30 feet on our width, 4 feet between posts, and the diagonal where we're looking for on-center dimensions. But we're clamping the tape in such a way that it's at one edge, so a bow is always going to sit from our dimension to a bigger dimension. It's the really simplest thing to just get emphasized. For 30 feet, we're looking for the bow to sit from 30 feet to the width of the bow, which is or width of the ground post, which is 1 inch 5/8. So it's from 30 feet to 30 foot 1 5/8. And when we bring that down here, we see the 30 foot 1 5/8. We've pulled the diagonal, so we've got 56 feet, 56.6 feet. We get the bubbles on, drive in this post, and now we have our third point of our rectangle. We're going to go to the opposite corner. Hoop houses. So with layout, these tips are going to work whether you're building a Nifty hoop or reconstructing one from another side or building any structure. We're pulling the fourth corner here, and this is where we start to introduce some redundancy. Not only do we have the diagonal and the 30 foot coming across the width, but we have the length coming down this last side of the house. And so this is a way we can really check and see that our dimensions did work and we didn't make any mistake till now, because all three of these things have to add up. We've got 30 feet, 48 feet, and the diagonal, in this case for a 48-foot hoop house, 56.6 inches. That agrees, and we set our last corner. With the four corners in, now all we have to do is set 4-foot posts, or posts in every 4 feet down this side. Set a stake along the side of the post, put a string on that, and clamp these tapes on, and then we'll have a very accurate index for each one of these posts that we want to set. Posts are going in every 4 feet. I've got one I'm setting here at 36 foot. Again, we're going on the high side of that line. I'm setting the stakes that we've set this string off are about 5/8 of an inch off. That way we're not touching the string on any of these. Start by setting the post. If we need to steer that post a little bit, we can tip it the opposite direction and drive it to get it precise. We're looking at getting about a 1/4 inch tolerance on every one of these posts. Once we like it, all the bubbles are in, we can go ahead and set that post. And we just set them enough that we can come back and drive them with the machine. No need to use the muscles this early in the day. Once we've set the posts, we'll come back with the power driver to drive them down to the height we want them. So we're going to use a laser to set the final height on these posts. This is set up now and spinning at just a perfect plane water bubble level. And we're going to go around and figure out what the actual grade is and then tip the laser to match that grade so we can set as close to the actual grade as possible. This looks like the high corner to me. Once I've got that set, I'm just going to go to each other corner and notice how much ground there is below it. So we've got about 6 inches here. We're at about 10 inches there. About 11 inches there. Coming to the middle. Okay, and about 3 inches there. So right now already I know this site. I know that there's a little bit of crown in the middle here. It tips a little bit to this end, tips a little bit to that side. So I'm going to go, put pencil to paper on this as well to get the exact amount I want to tip it. But I know this site really well. I know that we're going to tip the house down about 10 inches from end to end and just about 4 inches over side to side. So I went around and got some exact measurements for this site. It's a little bit of a potato chip, it's relatively flat. We're not going to tip it very much, but we found that we had the highest point in this corner, and then there was 3 inches fall to here, 10 inches to here, 8 inches, 9 inches, and 11 inches. We got to figure out how to get the best plane out here that we can. And, with the laser, we can do that. We're going to slope the thing down 4 inches end to end. We're going to tip it about 6 inches. The last dimension, the last variable is how far are we pushing this hoop house into the ground. And we want those ground posts, or the ground posts to go down to a dimension where these baseboards are going to go into the ground a little bit and not be out of the ground too much. So we figured out that little best scenario by just subtracting some numbers and getting it to where the most they're out of the ground is going to be 2 inches on that corner, 1 inch on that corner, and that only buries them in about 2 inches at the most on the other points. So I'm just going to take and drive this post and then tip the laser down to the other end, and we have everything we need. Okay, so with the laser set up level at this end, we're going to take it down to the other end. I've driven this one to the height I need it to go to. And now I'm going to tip the laser out of level and bring it down to meet that. And that's how we're going to have our ultimate tip of the house. So I'm tipping that laser down to here. When it reads on like it is right now, we've tipped that down 4 inches to this end. Call us anytime you need some help, and we'd be glad to talk you through any of these steps.